too many people take the first door number one on that and self-destruct. And look at me, I'm having fun, I'm on the beach, I'm partying, woo! And it doesn't work out so hot. The road of hedonism is a road to self-destruction because it's ultimate narcissism. It's like, what do I want right now? Like any addiction, what do I want right now? How do I satisfy my needs right now? And food, booze, women, whatever it is, it's all about satisfying your own personal selfish needs. Mm-hmm. And it's fun. You can have a hoot and some laughs, but it doesn't mean it's healthy or fulfilling. You're drinking from an empty cup when you take door number one. It's never enough, and it's always destructive. Always. Hello, friends. I'm proud to give a shout out to our sponsor, the Canadian Legacy Project. Veterans Affairs Canada is very limited in its service offering to veterans, so the Canadian Legacy Project has stepped up to fill the gap. CLP develops and delivers a full suite of free programs for Canadian veterans. CLP celebrates our veterans by offering meaningful support for healing and the transition to civilian life. Homes for Heroes, Business Boot Camp, service dogs, educational bursaries, equine therapy, and more are available through the Canadian Legacy Project. Find out more at CanadianLegacy.org. Hello, all you beautiful souls. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Operation Tango Romeo, the Trauma Recovery Podcast. I don't chase people too hard when I want them on the show. So if it doesn't work out really early on, then they just kind of fall away. And this is one of those. So Cameron Bennett and I have been trying to get together for years, but we got back on the horse, and I'm so happy to have him on because he has a topic that I am really interested in, and I hope that you are too. Cameron, thanks for joining me, man.
Oh, thank you very much for having me. It's you're right there. It's been a while actually there since our first conversation a long time ago there. But you went off and started yourself a good podcast, and I continued on the path of the charity.
Yeah, it was pretty early on. The show started in 2019, and I could see myself in which studio I was in when I was first reaching out to you. It's just so interesting. So let's just rewind a little bit to your service. You were a reservist first, and then 2 PPCLI, and then AVN Tech. Is that right?
Well, there was a stint where I went to Edmonton there because after in 2nd Battalion when the base in Winnipeg shut down in 2004, we went out to Shiloh there. I didn't like it. It wasn't my base. I was too young. You know, when I was older, I would love that area, but in my mid-20s, no. The only thing you could do there is drive into Brandon and drink or drink at the golf course. So
I know the area well. My ex-wife is from Brandon and Souris area, so
yeah. So I took so once the opportunity for the tow company to start up came up there during a reorg of the units, I jumped on it, and I ended up going to Edmonton, and then I got posted to 1st Battalion for a little bit. So. But after that, I switched over and went to AVN Tech. And after AVN Tech, I got out of the military and in 2018 and started the charity just from my experiences. It came from a long line of me trying to figure out things and on a lot of luck and a women of prayers.
Well, let's start with what an AVN Tech is. A lot of the audience, of course, will have no idea. First, it's Air Force. Second, is that airframe tech, like where you're sort of a jack of all trades, where you can do everything structural from welding to sewing and fiberglass, everything else?
No, that would be ACS technician. That okay. I was an aviation technician. So I know a lot of it was changing when I was in there, and I know a lot of it was changing when I was getting out. So, like, for example, I was the first course where AVN techs didn't have to learn weapons because that was getting pushed over to a new unit called a Air Weapons Systems Technician. So that got taken away. But I will agree with you in saying they were the jack of all trades because at one point AVN tech was doing probably, this is just my guess, but about 80% of the stuff on a plane. So everything was falling under AVN tech to the point of where they had to...
Give me a few examples of what you'd be doing.
Oh, we would be doing basic electronics. So as we used to joke about, We would have to find any electrical snags. If we found an electrical snag, we would have to problem solve it till it got to something that we weren't qualified on. So as we used to joke, we in our on our courses, we used to joke, and they would go, okay, just throwing out random numbers, but okay, how much power goes this way? 24 volts. How much power goes into here? 24 volts. What happens in this little box? Magic. What happens when it comes out of there? 24 volts comes out. And we're like, okay, sort of thing. And why we say magic is because that's the job for the air avionics technician, because he's the electronics guy of the course, of the plane squads. So we would always do like the basic snags, and then we would do anything engines, anything airframes. So that would be like looking at the structure of it, so on and so forth, the frame parts of it, the refueling, the servicing, even cleaning out the restrooms. So that was everything for us. We would do all the basic servicing.
Did you get in the air very often?
Well, by that time in my career, I was didn't really care too much about being in the air, as after being in the Army in Afghanistan many of times, I'd been up in Griffins, Blackhawks, Hercs, all these other things. So by that time I was like, I didn't really care too much, but yes, the opportunity was always there.
Did you have a favorite?
Did I have a favorite?
Did you have a favorite aircraft whip around in?
The favorite aircraft to work on would have been the Tudor, because it was so easy. It had so much room to move around and fix, but those things are old and archaic.
Flying garbage cans.
Yep. Hey man, I had a Navy tech called the C-130 Herc, the dump trucks of the sky. But you know what? They're also the workhorses of the sky, because those things keep going.
I met a guy that was actually a civilian pilot of the Hercules, the C-130. I was like, that's interesting. There can't be too many of those around. He's a Gracie realtor now in Edmonton. But would have been a cool job flying all over North Africa with a C-130. That's what he claims he did. I have no reason to not believe him.
It's not like the Herc hasn't been bought by civilian companies, so.
It's a good aircraft. Yep. Fun to fly in. Yep. Sitting in cargo nets while you're flying is kind of an experience, that's for sure.
Yeah. And like I said, of all the things I did, and all the things I do regret out of the military, is not keeping up, like I was saying earlier on, not keeping up with my airframe and engine qualifications and continuing on, especially after when I got out of the military. I went out and got a degree in occupational health and safety. I was looking at getting a full 4-year it was something called Public Safety Works, if I remember correctly. Anyways, but I really realized if I would have kept up on my aviation skills and my knowledge on it and working on it, I would have had really good opportunities. But
what were some of the trade related skills that you developed as an AVN tech? Like, did you learn to weld, as an example?
Oh, no. That again, welding and structure stuff like that would be ACS tech, which is aircraft systems sort of thing. They do welding, non-destructive testing. So like, let's put it this way. I had if a panel needs to be replaced and removed, that's us. If a panel gets dinged and dented and needs to be completely fixed for its structural integrity, that's an ACS tech.
Okay.
So that would be the best way to explain the differences. And I know there's going to be some Air Force guys out there tearing me apart because I'm not probably saying it properly in a manner of another way out there.
They're just Air Force guys. You don't have to worry about it.
Hey, man.
You're an Army guy.
I know I could say things bad. That's funny, is I'll say something that'll get the Army guys all irritated at me. After I switched to the Air Force, I actually have said this in many ways, that an Air Force technician and the Air Force, in their trade and in their job alone, are 100 times more professional and better soldiers than any Army or infantry guy is.
Because there's something I've never heard before. And why is, explain.
The professionalism that they have. Yeah, they may not be what the Army needs, because the Army is a different type of poison. You need to have hard, disciplined people that can take a lot of grunt work and think on the fly, initiative and ingenuity. And, they have their own great skills, but they also act very immaturely. They also act very poorly in many of situations. They also...
That's where all the good memes come from.
Yeah. Oh, that's where all the good stories come from. Don't get me wrong. That's what I said. But when it comes down to the actual professionalism, I've seen it. The Air Force prides themselves on getting mistakes caught. The Army takes that as an insult. If you screw up in the Army and someone calls you on it, they take it as like an insult, like um, you're challenging them, like you're saying they suck and can't do their job. In the Air Force, when someone catches a snag that you missed, they actually say good job, like well done, thanks, I missed that, I can't believe I screwed up. And the people by them
Well, I
that are
guess it's
working.
because at the end of the day, it's about the integrity of the aircraft or air missions,
Mhm.
and they're kind of a big deal.
That's why I was saying.
So if somebody screws up, a lot of people die.
That's what I was saying. But they turned that into an actual environment of positivity in a lot of ways that I saw. And that's why I said when I was talking to techs and they were like, no, this isn't right. We have to do this properly. I screwed up. And I'm like, I have never seen that. Not once in the Army. Everyone was always, geez, how do I cover this up? I can't let guys know. Let's blame it on this guy. Sort of thing like that there. And in the Air Force, people were being okay and saying, I made a mistake. And the best thing I loved about it too was their safety program. They had a no freaking punishment policy on that thing, unless it was severe. But what would happen is flight
Well, it
safety.
makes sense. I mean, if you went the other way, then you're discouraging people from pointing shit out.
Exactly.
That's not
But
good.
that's why I'm saying is why I considered the Air Force techs in the Air Force in their jobs to be more professional. Now, again, could an Air Force do an Army guy's job? Nope, because that's not what you need.
Well, to do an infantry job, I mean, that takes a lot of conditioning, mental conditioning. People always say, "Oh, you're so tough." Well, it's the mind more than it is the body.
Hmm.
It really is. And when you can compartmentalize the pain and the fatigue and the suffering, and just uh, find a way to numb and push through,
Hmm.
that's an army guy.
Hmm.
And you just don't have to do that anywhere else, like at all.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. And that's the difference is it's like what they would do uh, would be considered really annoying and irritating for the Army because they would look and be like, no, why don't we just do it like this? Well, that's not proper. Who cares? It's not proper. It's getting the job done. No, because something could screw up, and like it's almost incompatible. It's almost like AC and DC or
Well, they're
that
different
whole thing.
environments, right? Like
Yeah.
you need different mentalities for different environments. I'm not a process oriented person, but I can understand the requirement for a process in the right situation, right? I can dot the I's and cross the T's when I understand how important it is to do that. But as an infantry, especially as you and I are both patricians,
Hmm?
we have a cowboy mentality of get it done. But on the battlefield, the results are pretty freaking impressive. The battle honors of the patricias are nothing to sneeze at.
Oh no,
And
no.
the battle capability of patricias is significant, but you can't do that with a process oriented, dot the I's, cross the T's. That doesn't work in combat,
No,
right?
not at
So
all.
it's a completely different environment. So of course we're different types of people. Um, and at the end of the day, like what works? So does that mean that the Air Force is more professional? Well, from a certain perspective, I guess if you mean by professional, having a lot of rules and following them. But at the end of the day, it's combat effectiveness. So the effectiveness on the battlefield means improvise, adapt, and overcome. There
Hmm.
are no rules. Like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face,
Yeah.
and that's combat. You're getting punched in the face left and right. So now what? How do I fight through that with a bloody nose? And how do I push through the suffering? Well, you have to be goofy and silly and have a gallows sense of humor. Like you have to, or you can't survive it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very, very different. A lot of the guys that I know, and I'm curious if you had this experience, guys that I know that went from infantry to airframe or anywhere in the Air Force, it was usually like airframe, AVN or ACS. They actually had a culture, hell of a culture shock that really upset them. Like it was difficult because the level of, I was going to say discipline, but respect for the ranks, it's completely different. So when you have a one hook private uh, calling a sergeant by his first name, and people's heads are exploding if you came from the infantry, right? Whereas this is just a little bit more normal in the Air Force because it's a completely different environment. Did you have a difficulty transitioning from Army to Air Force? Like, was there that culture shock for you?
Um, yes, but I was still way too Army. And by that I mean, let's put it this way: I was I probably should have been medically released after 2013 when I got out, but I was still smart enough to know what I was doing, and it's not like I was an idiot, sort of thing like that there. But the one thing again I learned about how Air Force and Army are different is they don't know how to deal with Army aggression, Army mentalities. So
Mm-hmm.
the whole mentality of you poke at someone, and if they don't freaking stand up for themselves, you look at them as weak, so you prey on them more and more and more. Um, and also because they're not used to being angry and getting mad at people and having to tell people stuff in an aggressive manner to get them to do things.
I would say assertive manner, a clear manner,
Let's
clear
put it this way:
communication. Listen here, fuck nuts.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now to any of the Air Force people that did know me, especially in certain squadrons. I directly apologize if I've stepped over
Did
way
you
too
pull out
far.
the knife hand once or twice there, Cameron?
No, but because I realized
Did you do the pokey chest?
no, no, I was never like that. But let's just put it this way: I wasn't rude. I was very offensive, and since I love shock humor and how offended and how much they weren't able to deal with that attitude, I preyed upon it, and I kept going more and more over the top with more crazy,
Yeah.
outlandish things and stories and suggestions, sort of thing like that. There, so
Just to watch their skin crawl.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And it's because I would even say to my Army buddies that were asking me about that stuff, I'm like, they don't know how to deal with Army aggression. I just told a Master Corporal to F off because I'm having lunch right now. And the guy just walked away and guided the plane in. And I was like, and the crew was looking at me going, what do you do? Why would you say that to him? I'm like, I'm having lunch. I've been working for the last 6 hours, and I finally got my first break. So I told him to fuck off. Well, shouldn't say that. Sorry, f off on the on
Oh, that's fine.
because I'm trying to eat. Because I'm trying to eat now for my first break. I'm like, and then I go, Pity and Como are out there right now. They can do it, sort of thing like that. There, and he's like, no, they're tasked with another plane and another job right now. They're not with the flight crew. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I thought there was other guys that could guide that plane in, sort of thing. And he's like, no. And I'm like, and then I looked and I go, well, why in the hell didn't he tell me to shut up and get out there? If I would have known I was the only guy left, I would have gone out there. And he's like, well, he didn't want to get you mad. I'm like, someone tell me when I'm in trouble and I did something wrong. I can't tell if I've done something wrong if no one tells me that. So like that was the confusions I was having. Like I was just talking like I was back in the company alliance. Like, hey, can you go do this? F off! I'm in the middle of doing something.
Well, it's not just infantry, right? Like it's anybody with a rough job. Uh, like we're kind of like truckers. Actually, so many of us become truck drivers, but truckers or oil field workers, pretty much any job site for the most part, especially if you're roofers or some other really tough grunt work. It's a similar kind of attitude. And if you're more of a office cubicle person, well, those are two very, very different things. The culture shock for me, the first time I was in a cubicle, God, terrible. Did that for a few years, but adjusting to other office staff with zero service, and I was fresh out of a war. Oh my God, it wasn't good, man. It wasn't good. A lot of clashes, and people are like, "Who the hell is this guy? Like, what is going on?" I'm like, "No, it's how we are." But that's the challenge with transition into civilian life. Like the same issues that you were having there in the Air Force. Uh, I actually think it's worse. The transition is worse from Army to Air Force than it is from Army to civilian life. Because in civilian life, at least you have the awareness of, okay, I'm definitely not in the military now, and I'm going to have to think a little differently or act a little differently. But when you go from green to blue, you're okay. I'm supposed to still be in the military here. Why is it so different if it's still the military? What's going on? But
Yeah.
the culture is radically different.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And again, like I said, I should have been more respectful and realized, oh, this is a different life. But what I thought was, these people are all weak, and if they think that they don't, if they think I can walk all over them, I'm just going to take this as far as I can go, type of thing. And I shouldn't have thought like that, because I
Dude,
realized
that's all of us.
they had a
That's all of
different
us.
type of
Don't be your
professionalism.
don't brother. Don't beat yourself up about it. Like
Oh, no.
that's all of us. Like everybody I know that went from green to blue, it's the same issues, right? And God, especially for the first few years. Oh, dude, let's call it 5 years. Like I did not fit. Like, talk about a square peg in a round hole. It was so difficult. I still don't fit. Freaking 30 whatever years later, uh, still don't fit. Not really.
Yeah,
I find myself always having to scale it back, watch what you're saying, and that's why it's so good when you get together with the boys, and especially somebody you did a tour with,
yeah,
and then you could just like, oh, and be yourself, and everybody speaking the same language, and it's fine,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right, man. You're absolutely right. Like I said, I had a lot of hard time too, because I also found the Air Force a little bit more. You didn't know where you stood. It was more catty, as I guess the best way to put it is. Person would be nice to you, and two faced. They'd be nice to you in front of you and talk to you and
Yeah.
joke around, and then all of a sudden you'd find out they're the ones sabotaging and trashing you behind your back. And I watched it with. I'm not going to say the direct scenarios, but I would watch it with this one person. I remember my first major experience of being like, this is what this group's crew's like, sort of thing. And it was just talking to this person that just had a kid, and then they're, oh, this is amazing. As soon as they left, instantly trashing, and I was just like, wow, no, I would have told you right off to your face, sort of thing. I'm like, okay,
Well, in infantry, you need that clear communication,
yeah,
right? Like just think about section attacks.
hmm
There's no time for fluff or ambiguity. Like
hmm
you, it's like, uh, get up there now, covering, firing, fire and movement. Like, it's you. There's no time and there's no space for any bullshit. It's just, this is what I need you to do. Go do it, and or you cannot function in a combat role. Then you go into any other environment, and it's just not like that.
yeah.
Also, the consequences, like, there's stories I've never told about some of those consequences, because I don't want people to look at me like I got three heads.
Does it
But
have to deal with low ground by any chance, or?
well, it has to do with. Uh, I'll tell the story. Here's a story I've never
Tell you
told.
what, I'll go one stupid to one stupid if you want.
Oh yeah. Well, we will have a race to the bottom of that. So I was in holding platoon because both my shins were broken from stress fractures,
Yeah.
and 3/4 of the way through on each one. So that took a while to heal up. Anyway, it was the weekend, so our lockers are open. Should be not an issue, to have an open locker. There's only maybe a dozen of us that were in the barracks, and I knew that I put a can of Coke on my shelf, and I go out and come back, that can of Coke is gone, and I'm like, no way. No, it's the principle of the thing. It's not just because it's probably a
Mhm.
50-cent can of Coke. It's the principle of the thing, and we're supposed to be able to trust each other.
It's a long time ago, 50 cents.
Yeah. And so I asked the one guy, and he just sort of nodded. It was this guy. Last name was Howard. We called him the Duck. And big guy. I am not a big guy. He was a very big guy. But everybody's got to sleep sometime, as they say. So he woke up with me with a knife to his throat. Now, was I actually going to do anything? No. But I figured it would be a memorable way for him to wake up so that we could have a little chat. And he didn't know I wasn't going to do anything.
hmm
But he woke up to it with a knife to his throat so we could have a little chat about trust.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? He never did it twice. He
No, I
never did it twice. And he never sought any kind of vengeance for waking up with a knife to his throat. But
it
we
was a
had a little
lesson learned.
chat.
He tried to peck at you, and you pecked back.
Yeah, and yeah, you're awfully large. Doesn't matter because you got to sleep sometime. He woke up to a knife to his throat. Yeah, I did that. Not a story that I've ever told before, because for obvious reasons, because I sound like a psycho. But in
Well,
that particular environment, it's not really that psycho. Like I got to be able to trust you, and you've got to know that these are severe consequences if you break that trust.
doesn't matter, man. You're right. Theft was still considered to be a very, no, let me rephrase that. Theft from actual troops was considered to be a very, very bad thing still in the infantry, at least when I got out, sort of thing like that. Now, acquiring things from the government was a different story.
That's a different thing. It's just like whoever gets the most wins.
Yes. Acquiring things from the government was or from the military was an extremely well done art. And it was actually honestly like silent awards given out for how well you could acquire things.
Yeah. Well, I know of a couple of guys that they acquired an M72 rocket launcher. Now, for the for the civilians out there, that's the ones you see on TV where they go skunk. They extend it. They extend the tube, and then a rocket comes out. They press a little thing, shoulder mounted rocket launcher. And, and unlike the movies, there's only one missile per tube. Two or three don't come out of there. You only get one shot,
Yep.
one and done. But in Calgary, they shot it at a boat in the reservoir, all drunk up, and they missed the boat, thank God, and it skipped across the water and sank the rocket. So, uh, yeah, go Army.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, geez, man, we'd be here talking forever because you just reminded me of one of the last section attacks I did in the year.
Tell me about forging. How did you get into tell how did you get into forging? Like what made you make that decision? It's like, yeah, I want to learn to do blacksmith stuff.
No, the forging experiences for myself, a lot of it happened by some friends making suggestions at weird times, and pure flukes and flips of coins. But um, me getting to it and doing it, I didn't realize how much it would help me, and then I wanted to learn more about why it helped me personally. And then I said I was going to start an organization and a charity because it helped me so much. I figured if I'm falling for the same things that other people are, then it's probably can help others. Um, like I said, I was on my way out. I was definitely done from the military after 20 years and 3 tours to Afghanistan, tour to Bosnia, so on and so forth. My mind was broken. My body was
Yeah.
broken, just like every grunt is, sort of thing like that. Um, and first, I decided to try to drink and eat my way out of my problems, like I always used to, and that didn't go too well. And it was just a case of one day watching Forged in Fire with a buddy of mine. He was like, "Why don't you try blacksmithing?" And I was thinking, I'm like, well, I've seen my buddy Rick Anderson blacksmithing a lot there, like, just in his backyard making knives and stuff. I'm like, eh, my buddy Rick can do it. Why can't I give it a try? So I was on my voc rehab. I had to prove that my body could still somewhat do it, which I can, but through a lot of difficulty. But because I like doing it so much. Um, So after that suggestion, like I said, and I proved I could do it, I found a school down in Ontario, Halliburton School of Art and Design, Fleming College, and I applied and went down. So once I went down there, I I remember the day that I actually finally snapped into it, and I realized just how well it was helping me. I was blacksmithing in the shop. And I remember my instructor, Renee, tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Hey, it's lunchtime. You got to go eat." And I clued in. I was lost. I was zoned out, even though I was covered in sweat and just exhausted. I was utterly happy. It was a pure dopamine rush. I don't know. Um, just for 4 hours straight, gone, even though my body was tired and exhausted. And I realized that, I don't know, I was at peace. I was at Zen, in a Zen like state. And at that moment, I said, I'm going to, I want to bring this to others. So it went from me trying to open up a shop, making a joke of Triple B, Benny's Basic Blacksmithing or something like that, to saying I want to give this feeling to other guys that are kind of doing what I'm doing type of
Sure.
scenario. And that's honestly where I can remember it first starting. And the only other big guy that really helped me out was my dog Bishop. That guy was, he saved my life when I first got out. He was the one that made me realize that I'm not a horrible person, and that I actually personally like to help people more than I do to be a prick and look out for yourself like you have to be in the army and all that stuff and everything and eat your own mentality. I realized that I think more of the reason why I was in such a bad attitude is because I was being the person I thought I needed to be, but the thing that I hated to be naturally is
Okay.
I like helping people more than I do like being selfish, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, it's not wrong to be selfish sometimes, but um, so when I was hating myself one time and I was in a very bad spot, that's when my dog made me realize I wasn't that bad of a person. As I was walking back and forth in some breakdown state where I was just in a bad state, and he jumped up and he saw me and he jumped up and started licking my face, and he was standing on his hind legs and he didn't let go. He didn't let go for a while, to the point of where even when his back legs were giving out, he was still clawed into my arms and chest, licking my face. And it went on for a while. And I realized that he didn't see a prick or an asshole or whoever or whatever I've been told as a, military, if you don't do anything right, you're a failure. Even when you do something right, you still failed and you can do something better, blah, blah, blah. He just saw a guy that was nice to him, cared for him, loved him, took him out for walks every day, and he was hurting. So that kind of made me realize, oh crap, maybe I'm not a horrible person, type of thing like that. So that kind of got me into more thinking about setting up the shop and everything. That was in about 2018ish, and when I just got back from the blacksmithing, and yeah, so at that point I started just looking in more. I took all the money and I had a choice. So I said, what do I want to do? Do I want to take all the money from my veterans payouts when I got out of the military for being 100% broken, blah, 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 and do what my original plan was, which was go down to Belize and become a drunken expat? Or do I redo my entire backyard, spend all my money building a shop and buying equipment and start a charity? And it landed on tails, and tails was start the charity. If it would have landed on heads, I'd be living in Belize as a probably 400-pound drunken expat sort of thing. Um, and yeah, it just started snowballing from there. I just wanted to start helping out more. It started making me feel even more better. More people, really good, supportive board people that have been staying around for a while, and it's just been growing. And there's been a lot of good things coming forward in the near future too now. And we've expanded with working with a research agreement with Dr. Lena Tamsetto in the University of Toronto. She with occupational therapy. She's going to hopefully, if she can get some grant funding, she'll be doing some research on this, and we're going to be hopefully getting some good results that will be able to help make this a actual art therapy in the future.
You made the right choice, brother.
Thank you very
And
much.
too many people take the first door number one on that and self-destruct. And look at me, I'm having fun. I'm on the beach. I'm partying. Woo! And it doesn't work out so hot. It's a road that the road of hedonism is a road to self-destruction because it's ultimate narcissism. It's like, what do I want right now? Like any addiction, what do I want right now? How do I satisfy my needs right now? And food, booze, women, whatever it is, it's all about satisfying your own personal selfish needs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun. You can have a hoot and some laughs, but it doesn't mean it's healthy or fulfilling. You're drinking from an empty cup when you take door number one.
Yeah.
It's never enough, and it's always destructive. Always. You take door number two, where you're actually helping somebody. Now you have purpose. You know, I drives me nuts when people say, "Why would I ever retire? I'd be so bored. You can only golf so much," and my brain just melts when I hear people saying that. It's like that's the only thing you can think to do with your time is to entertain yourself with golfing. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna do. How about fucking helping somebody? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it, dude. But it took me a long time getting out of the army to find my people, and my people is people like you, people that want to put others first, that want to lift others up, don't want to tear anybody down or have a life of hedonism where it's all about you. You want to help somebody and leave an impact. That's what I attempt to do with my show in my own little way, and that's what you're doing in a very real way with your forge and bringing veterans in. So who was Cameron Bennett before you found blacksmithing, and who's Cameron Bennett now?
Ooh, I like this because you're actually asking questions that I pondered, but could never answer quickly. Let's see if I can try to do this quickly. Who was I before? I was a boy that was taught by men that didn't really know how to be men. And now I am a man that finally is learning that he doesn't know much, but is confident in his knowledge that he is learning as he is getting older. That's but the best way I could put it.
I've got something for you here, Cameron. Something that because I've been listening very carefully to what you've been saying and your viewpoint on your time in the infantry and what that was like through your eyes. But here's something that you should know about that group of men that you were with, and why there is such a difference in cultures between army, between green and blue. There's really good numbers out of the states about childhood trauma scores called ACEs, and the higher it's a scale of 1 to 10. My ACEs score is 7, which is already guaranteed PTSD before I joined. And that's normal. It's normal to have a high ACEs score. Like anything over 2 or 3 is actually a pretty high ACEs score. And I expected to be a 10, to be honest with you, but I was a 7. Um, but that's all of us. The people that choose infantry in particular have a higher ACEs scores than other trades. And it's like that with first responders or the cops and paramedics. The people that wear the capes that run towards the trouble, well, only people that have been hardened by life at an early age would even think of doing that as a profession. People that have already been forged and tempered by life by the age of 8, and because otherwise you just wouldn't choose that trade. So trauma rich environments are what we ended up choosing as our trade. So when you say men that were really boys that didn't know that they were boys, well, yes, that's exactly what the infantry is, because childhood trauma causes arrested development. So you stay at the age that you were traumatized at. So 5, 6 years old. Then you're in the army with all the testosterone and everything else, and the job is kill, kill, kill. That's the job. Well, who the hell's going to take that job, being a professional killer? Well, somebody that's already been hardened. And now you throw a 5-year-old into that job, a 5-year-old into a man in a man's body. Well, that's what you get. But that's the only type of people that are going to do that job,
Yep.
right?
I
And
agree.
then when you go blue, you're now meeting people that don't have that backstory. If you chose blue as your profession, um, your ACEs score is going to be way lower, dude, way lower. Like, did you ever notice early on, like in battle school and the first couple of years, that anybody that you got to know well, they'd tell you stories about when they were a kid, and those stories would be so fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm thinking of friends' names that I'm not going to mention because they might. Oh,
Right?
there's some
Like
stories where
like I knew that my childhood was pretty fucked up, but I started hearing stories from other dudes, and I went, "Oh, maybe I didn't have it so bad." Then I just thought maybe this is everybody, but it's not. It's not everybody. It's just everybody that decides to be an infantryman.
Oh no, I agree with that. I've had many of civilian friends and stuff like that talking to people, and I would just tell about family gatherings and disputes and stories and arguments. And I've had multiple times in my life they look and go, "You realize that's not normal." And, and I,
Nobody ever said those words to me, but they should have.
yeah, sort of thing like that. And you realize that growing up, like what you described to me is not normal, and I have not heard that in other people's lives. Sort of thing like that. Then I'm like, come on, man, that can't be. Like I've had so many other people in my job, and it's like, no, that's none of us. And like, there's like four people. It's like none of us grew up with that stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm the weird one. Oh, geez, I didn't realize that. I'm the odd man out here.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
then you go to CSOR or JTF, right? And
I tried out. I made it on I made it past selection on the first course, and then I got failed off for being a little too. No,
well,
it wasn't.
you got further than most,
No, it
but
wasn't. It wasn't that. What it is I was a dead man walking there. I didn't realize. I thought they wanted actual honest truth and not army truth. So
okay.
when I was there and I was doing everything, I was very clear when they were asking me questions. I was like, "Oh, I got an application into the Australian Army, the New Zealand Army. You know, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when I move down there because I love that country, blah, blah, blah." And I found out later on that they were in some of the highest levels of attrition in that time for CanSoftCom, or the new CanSoftCom being created, and they didn't want to spend millions of dollars training people that were wish-washy on what they wanted to do in their life. So yeah, at the final cuts at week 9 or 10 or something, or 8, on the freaking course day, I was kicked off, and I did one of those crap. If I would have just given the straight honest army answers of like, "Yep, love it, doing everything's great here, good, keep going, yep, hard, I'll keep going," I probably would have stayed there, but it wouldn't have led me to this point.
Well, anybody that even applies for CanSoftCom for special forces, whether you apply, whether you've made it or not, the statistically your ACEs scores are going to be even higher than they are in general in the infantry.
Oh wow.
Um, that's what they figured out in the States. Like any of the tier 2 and tier 1 units, their ACEs scores are higher. Like even Navy SEALs, which is tier 2, most people don't know that, but they're a tier 2 unit. But their ACEs scores are not as high as SEAL Team 6 and Delta. SEAL Team 6 and Delta have higher ACEs scores.
Hmm.
Like you can track it.
I wouldn't want to be a SEAL.
It's really something. I would have. You know what? I often think if I was going to do it over again, that I'd go down to the States and be a SEAL. The I like the amphibious part of it, and all the glory, because it's like it's a tier 2 unit, but everybody thinks that you're like Superman.
Yeah.
So
CSAR really intrigued me because I never wanted to be a door kicker. I wanted to be
okay.
something in between.
When I joined, I wanted to be a medic. I actually I didn't want to put holes in people. I wanted to patch up the holes. That's why I ended up on a cliff rescue team, volunteer, when I was on Vancouver Island for a couple of years. I barely hit the ground before I found a cliff rescue team and learned very, very quickly. And I enjoyed that. I like to be the person peeling you off the mountain. But I had to learn to be a killer. And that was the opposite of what I wanted to be. So that transition was just hell on me because I'm trying. It's like when you're casting for a role, you try to get somebody that isn't really stretching, that's just, yeah, it makes sense that you would be that guy. Well, I had to learn how to be an army guy, like the killer, because that's the opposite of what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be the tough guy. I wanted to be the rescue guy. But and it's taken me a long time to swing back because once I became the killer, it really stuck with me for a long time.
I always
That
wanted to be a
role,
protector myself. And that's one of the
yeah.
reasons why I like the infantry, but I was never the aggressive asshole.
Hmm.
Um, as much as so I always had a hard time trying to be that person. So it was always a really big adjustment for me. I didn't like
Yeah.
sort of thing like that there. That's why it's funny is buddy of mine, he died in 2008, but Mike Starker, he was pretty much our platoon medic. Even though he was a company medic, he always went up with our section whenever we did. But he's the one that convinced me when I first started thinking about doing occupational transfers in 2008ish 9. To not go medic, and he was a medic. And
Okay.
I thought it was funny is because I was like, hey, you can be a paramedic back in Canada in BC, you can do this, that. And he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. He's like, I thought it was cool too. And he was ex-airborne from the 90s.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he goes, I thought the same thing, but he goes, all I do now is look at people's feet and STDs. And I'm like,
Well,
oh,
it
come
was the
on. He's
terms
like,
we
that's
always called
all
them
you
pecker
do.
checkers, right?
Yeah.
And that's what kept me from doing it
Yeah.
is or remustering to it is like I don't want to stare down somebody's piss tube.
That's
It's
he
just
said
this. It's
that's pretty
just
much all he does when he goes when you're not on tour. He goes, all you're doing is looking at infections and infected feet and infected this and STDs.
oh god.
I was
Well,
like, okay, I'm not going to go paramedic or medic in the military.
yeah, I don't want to grab your pecker and look down the piss tube. No
Yeah,
thanks.
pretty much, pretty much.
But the goal was Sartec for me, and had I known then just how high speed Sartec was, like they're just as better trained than JTF, just not for the same thing, right?
Yeah,
And you stay domestic, and like Sartec would have been perfect for me. That's exactly. I don't. I'm not saying I would have made selection because it's incredibly difficult. So I'm
I got
not saying I would have passed, but that at least should have been the trajectory, something that I would have done that I would have enjoyed.
mhm.
Cool ass trade.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I got a couple buddies that went that too. One guy I barely talked to. Another guy went to. Was hoping to try to hook up with him last year, but the fishing trip got canceled last minute in Nova Scotia. So, oh well. But I know he was a Sartec. I missed him by like one posting season when I got posted to Greenwood. He was a Sartec there, and he got posted out when I got posted in. So I just asked the Sartecs, I'm like, any of you guys know these people? Yeah. You know. And,
Cool life if you don't have a wife and kids.
oh yeah, yeah. I could
If you got a wife and kids, Sartec, not so much.
yeah, yeah. But I was going to say, sorry, mind if I get back onto the charity stuff and everything too?
Yeah. Please.
I was going to say is continue on with the charity work and everything like that is like I said, we've been doing a lot of research and a lot of hard groundwork on this lately, especially is we definitely have funding now coming in that's going to be directly for renovations of a shop, buying equipment, hiring people, a lot of good things coming in, and we're looking at doing in the Niverville area. But we actually have a lot of long-term plans coming up. This isn't something that we wanted to go viral. Like I never, even when I said at the start, I never, my buddies were joking, going, oh, you do this, do that. It's going to go viral, blah, get this on the videos and it's going to go viral. And I kept saying, I don't want it to go viral because if it goes viral, it's going to flare up like a virus and then die out like a virus does really fast. So I want this to be proper. I wanted it to have it so that we could establish core foundations and core partnerships and just understand so that we are ready to get when those floodgates or that next opportunity comes and opens up, we're able to not just take off and then crash down again. We're able to take off, have a soft landing because we have our foundations set, and then go, okay, we're at our next roadblock. Here's the obstacles we have in front of us. Let's start establishing our foundations at this level so that when we get this block away, we can go up and not crash down again. And that's how we pretty much been trying to do this. So it was always started where everything under the charity was started with my own funds. Literally spent everything. When I say well into six digits redoing my backyard, buying all the equipment, everything like that. And that was because I knew that the charity was going to be started small. So I tied it off my power system in my backyard. I also did that because I was trying to think of my experiences. Test anxiety. I get massive test anxiety, especially, and I don't like it when people feel like they're judging me, testing me, measuring me up, or anything like that. So I wanted to create it like a relaxing environment. So I thought, okay, to start off, keep it in my backyard and have it just feeling like it's not a class, it's not structured. So you're not feeling like you're going to fail anything and screw up and cause death or misery or problems. And because, failure is death and misery and all that stuff. Um, so I just wanted to have it so when people come, it feels just like going to a buddy's place for a backyard barbecue sort of thing like that there. And but I do use some military mentality when I do try instructing. First off, if you're coming to the charity learning from me, you're not going to become a master blacksmith. But I have enough to be able to teach you the basics and open the door for you, because this is more about the feeling of it and the enjoyment of it and opening people up to this and these feelings. Um, but I also do a more modernized civilian version of the good old army learning classes of the EDI, explain, demonstrate, imitate, or civilian terms, monkey see, monkey do. Uh, is pretty much it. Um, and I'll have a person come in, but I also try to keep them off guard ish is when they're coming in, I'm giving them a quick little safety brief, what's going on, showing them how things run, and then I get right into it and I give them classes as soon as the forge is warmed up, because as I'm talking to them about the shop, the forge is warming up with metal in there. And then I'll take them out and I'll instantly start teaching them the stances of, like, how to blacksmith, what's the proper way, sort of thing like that there. And then I'll sit there and take a piece of metal out. This is how you move the metal. I'll do it once, show it to them, put it back in and go, okay, your turn, pass them the hammer, sort of thing like that. Because one, I'm a high believer that you could talk about it as much as you want. You ain't going to feel it until you actually hit the metal, type of thing like that, and understand. Two, I like doing it because it's quick, it's fast, it gets them not thinking about where they are, what they're doing, if they're being judged, how they're doing it. They're just in there learning the input, making it fast, making it quick so that their mind isn't, they're not in their head as much and they're getting more lost into the moment. And by the end of it, they usually come out of it with a nice little pigtail hook and, something to put on their wall. And if they want to come back for more for other classes, I don't try to hold them off. I have set classes I can teach, or if they have a special project, I'll say yes, 90% of the time if it's feasible, but I'll say I've never done it before. But I'll look and go, what's the worst that's going to happen? We're going to screw up, learn something, and have to try again. Because all those things actually that we do in there actually help, I guess, decondition people from the military combat scenario stuff mentalities, because you're teaching them communication because they don't know what they're doing. So they're going to ask questions about hitting the metal, how it heats up. So they're already acknowledging they don't know something and they're communicating and asking questions. They're activating their problem solving skills because they're thinking in themselves, okay, what do I have to do next? They're activating spatial awareness because they're going to have to sit there and go, what do I have to do next? And how do I want this to look? And how do I get it to look like that? Then they're going to have to also think about teamwork, because when you get into bigger stuff, we get into team striking, team practicing. There's also going to be more people there, so they have to share back and forth. And they also get, another thing is job satisfaction. They get the idea of, they saw something that they didn't know what they did. They came through, they finished it, and it's something that they did themselves. So maybe that gives them a little bit of a glimmer of a hope that they have a satisfaction that they accomplished something, made a piece of art, and that it shows them that maybe they aren't broken. They just need some time to heal up, figure themselves out, get some calm to them, and that they can learn to do a thing a different way and a different job and a different mentality. And we're trying to create a community of people. I mean, this has been done before. If you look at the end of World War One, Canada had veterans blacksmithing, looking for them until job work placement programs came into effect. There's a thing behind this physical stuff. I think in my opinion, it's when you look at it, a lot of combat arm guys, when they get out, they want to remain active. So they'll do things like mixed martial arts, boxing, whatever, anything like that. It's great, keeps you active, keeps you talking to people, but it still has that alpha male mentality, the, you know, tough guy mentality, and it still has the activation of the fight or flight areas of your brain. So you're still activating the areas that are hypersensitive and damaged. I really think that blacksmithing and these physical arts um, still give the same physical exertion, can still give the same communication, can still give the same type of community, but it activates the positive centers of the brain. Like I was saying, the problem solving, the communication, the teamwork skills, all of those areas, the spatial awareness. It activates all those centers rather than, oh, geez, where's the threat coming from? Am I going to be hit from here? He's moving his hand this way, you know, so on and so forth. Is he going to try to shoot on me? You know, it's not activating the how do I stop damage or a threat coming at me. It's activating the positive centers.
Are you
So,
familiar with the author Eckhart Tolle?
no, no, I'm not.
I would suggest reading The Power of Now
Mm-hmm.
and A New Earth
Okay.
by Eckhart Tolle. So he talks about being in the present moment and the power of that, and how that is a way, really probably the only way, of getting rid of anxiety, having all your focus on what you're doing right now. And it's also the somatic. So the soma is the body, right? And when you are focused on a specific task and you're moving your body to accomplish that task, that is incredibly therapeutic. And whether it's blacksmithing, for me, it's the arm wrestling community is incredibly good, but it's any community where there's something physical going on, and it doesn't have to be draining. I think it's better if it's physically draining, like if you have your gym bros, jujitsu is another great one because it's very, very taxing, but it's the community of people as well. So it's two things. It's the physical strain. It's the community of people where you can just be yourself, and you're moving towards a goal. You're improving on something, but you're out of your head, and you break isolation. So you put all these things together. Okay, I'm no longer isolated because I'm have another human being in the same room as me. I'm not in my head because I can't be in my head. I have to be focused on this task. And then all the good chemicals that come out of my body from stressing the body.
Yeah.
When you're stressing the body relaxes the mind. And so there's so many examples of the same thing. Blacksmithing, I think, is beautiful because it's a combination of all these things. It's community, it's a sense of progress because I'm learning something new. It is the physical strain on the body between the heat and the actual swinging of the hammer and the moving of materials. And the art component, because art therapy is a real thing, man. Art therapy, music therapy, all where you're using different parts of your brain, and the part that is toxic and destructive is turned off, and you're focused on the creative. Focus completely on the creative, on building something and moving forward. And then it's the person gets built as well, because now you have this project, and that project is proof that you can do something new, that you can build, that you can learn. And it's incredibly helpful to build the human being, because if you're suffering from as I
Sorry, I'm trying to
heard the words, the words that I heard you using before, of calling yourself a terrible person. Well, a terrible person can't make beautiful things.
Hmm.
So now you have physical evidence that, oh, I'm not a terrible person. I just made something beautiful. Therefore, if there's no beauty in me, I can't create something beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But there must be some beauty in me because I just made something beautiful.
Yep. You can show, you can see beauty. You know, it's convincing yourself that you're not that because the military conditions you to beat yourself down all the time.
I would use different words. I wouldn't say it's convincing yourself. I think it's more accurate and healthier to say realizing the
Oh,
truth,
yes, sir.
right?
I go by the, you know what, you're right. Act, you know, that's a very more positive way than saying fake it till you make it.
You're not faking anything. You're discovering the beauty inside yourself.
Yeah,
You're discovering your own strength. You're discovering what's already there.
that's a much more positive mentality. I actually like that mentality.
Well, I think it's more accurate.
Yeah, you're right. You're
You
absolutely
know,
right.
it's more accurate, and learning to give ourselves grace is just the toughest. And it is so difficult to be kind to ourselves. It's also critical. The words that we use when we describe ourselves, they matter because your body's listening. And the nice thing is that it's something that you can be self-aware of.
Hmm.
The internal dialogue, how you talk about yourself, that's something that you can catch and then correct and then implement the new discipline of your life of being kind to yourself. Because if you're
Yeah,
not kind to yourself in your inner dialogue, it's a little extra challenging to be kind to others.
absolutely.
And at the
Absolutely.
end of the day, that's all you are. How you treat others is all you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the things. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That can get me into another philosophical discussion of my moral views and ideologies, and I think we would align quite well with that scenario. I was, yeah, yeah, and honestly, and that's, and thank you for bringing that kind of stuff up there about thinking about yourself and better, positivity about how discovering your, yeah, and discovering that you're a good person or a better person than you thought you were. Um, and I was going to say, yeah, I think that what you were saying there can directly tie into my long term goals of what I'm hoping for this charity to be, because I didn't realize we started a lot of Canada Firsts here. Now, I know it's being done by other people now. It's not no other charities that we've been told of doing this, but I know we were the first business and first charity to do this. I didn't realize we were until they told us.
Are
Um,
you working in concert with any other groups?
we're trying to. We
There's an
definitely got
equine,
partnerships.
because here's what I'm thinking. There's a group not far from you that does equine therapy. I had them on the show.
Yep, I know.
Um, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yep, we're all talk. It's been a while since we've chatted, but it's coming in because we're trying to tackle what Forging Ahead's trying to do is we're trying to tackle something big long term. So,
Because if there was a forge at their site,
mhm.
right? Like what a thing to put it all together. Maybe make horseshoes or something. Like
Oh yeah, trust me, we want to do it. We want to do it. We want to do those things, but we have to prioritize our plans and our goals to get there. We would love to have everything all at once, but unfortunately, we have to crawl before we can walk. And first phase was me starting it up, and we've taken it to as far as we can get it in my backyard. So
yeah.
we now have some really good partners. We now have research. We now have some occupational therapists on our board. We have an amazing new board now. We have a great new president. Um, we've restructured our people to be much more professional. We have ourselves some administrators to help our online systems better. We're currently in the process of redoing all of our website, all of our social media, because we're preparing to make some pretty big announcements and some pretty big changes for the charity.
Oh, it's
So,
exciting.
yep.
I wish I lived closer, man. I would love to learn. I would absolutely love to learn blacksmithing.
There's some things that we're going that we're again we're going to be trying to expand. As I said, we have funds allocated now for hiring some employees to be able to help manage a shops that we're looking at for renting and renovating, and with that, and we're also having some partners that will be helping with very big campaigns for advertising nationally, as well as we have some other sponsors that are helping us locally here. And we've been in really good talks with the Manitoba government right now. We've hit all our goals that they've been asking us to see in this year, and we have another year where we're collecting data to show them and just to prove to ourselves. And us getting these funds for the shop that we're going to renovate is going to help us expand to make a new school. And that's what I was going to say is our long-term plans and how it's starting to develop fast with the partnerships we're getting and the funding that's going to be coming in. Is my long-term goal that I had, and the board would love to help with this, is to create Canada's first preventative mental health center, but it's also a Canada first educational center for arts, trades, and crafts. for such as I want to design it a lot like the School of Art and Design that I went to,
Are
similar.
you on an acreage or are you in town?
No, I'm just in St. Adolphe, Manitoba right now. And we're working. This is again how I said we've been harboring deals for a while to make sure we have a good core foundation. Is we've been working with the town of Niverville, Manitoba. They've been very generous with helping us with ideas that they have, land, uh, rental areas, promotion of what we'd be doing when we get there. And that's the other part too, is coming into effect. It's we're jumping back and forth in our plans, but one of the things we do plan is the town of Niverville has been nice enough to offer us a small area and a new park that they're creating that's leading into a 500-acre residential area, if I remember correctly, that they're going to be creating. But that one will just be a small rustic shop that we're able to do to keep along with the pioneer rustic theme, and they're going to be allowing us to make a trail through there that will be called the Trail of Heroes. And we're hoping to make it a national landmark that will be a trail that will have sculptures of art that are designed by veterans and
Oh
first
my gosh, that sounds
responders
beautiful, man.
that will go across this trail. And it will be done in first off starting in blacksmithing. But if other people have proposals for other types of art forms, we're all about
N-
wanting to hear it. The only thing we're going to
Now,
have to do.
if I was going to jump on my motorcycle and come visit you for a while, how many days would I have to book to have a nice introductory blacksmith experience?
Oh,
Like, what do I need? 5 days?
a basic blacksmithing course.
No,
Uh,
no, no. Just like an intro.
oh,
Like
just like an
just
intro, 4 hours. I can get you to make a pigtail hook in like 4 hours,
okay.
sort of thing like that.
What could I learn? Like, what would be the minimum amount of time to actually learn something useful that I can come home, get my own forge, and do something? Couple weeks, couple years.
Weeks, I would say. Just because I'm, no, when I say this is just because anyone can technically start and figure it out just by watching videos and learning. But for me, when it comes down to it, I'm always, even though, I'm not the greatest and I acknowledge that, I'm also a perfectionist with my work. So I don't feel happy until I'm, you know, extremely confident. So that's why I would say if someone came down and I would say, hey, he came here for a while, I would say, okay, I want to make sure you know exactly everything that I know how to do. So I can say I trained him as far as I know, sort of thing. So for me, it would take a while. But if you went to good guys like Matt Jenkins or Matthew Collette in Montreal, oh geez, no, like I'm actually looking to see if I can go down and take a course down in Montreal. That's a 200-hour blacksmithing course because that guy is so good. I want to learn off of him. So yeah, there you go. That can give you an explanation of what a good basic in blacksmithing course would take. Is Montreal they teach them for a 200-hour course.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But I would expect nothing less.
But there are
So
day courses, there are weekend classes that people can take. Like there's different blacksmithing organizations that do it. We try to keep it just at 4 hours because it's just me and we're just
yeah,
teaching basic classes. But so I picked things that I know I could make quickly within a couple hours for people.
there's a model I'm thinking about. So a buddy of mine, Mattis Steben, out of Ontario somewhere, he's the founder of Beekeeping for Veterans. Same kind of idea, beekeeping is incredibly therapeutic
We
and
want to get into that as well.
very beneficial. Well, Mattis can set you up. So what Mattis does is with the fundraising is, I think it's, I'm talking out of my ear here, but I think it's about $5,000 for a proper setup. So he raises the funds for that, so that if somebody wants to take up beekeeping, he's already done the fundraising, provide you with what you need to get started, and also the training of like this is how you do it, this is how you beekeep, and so we education as well as outfitting, and maybe yours can do something like that too. Like, okay, for a backyard blacksmithing setup, a starter kit, this is what you need. You need an anvil, you need a forge of this minimum capability, uh, propane tank, whatever it is, and with this and a little bit of training, you can now do blacksmithing in your backyard.
That's
Um,
absolutely what we are looking into, and that's going to be coming in a couple of years down the road. We're not quite there yet.
well,
Believe
maybe
me,
get
we
a
have
hold of
those plans.
Mattis, Beekeeping for Veterans, and have a conversation. Maybe you can learn from each other as far as the structure, because it's the same idea, just a
Oh,
different modality,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. We're taking all those things, putting them in, because as I was saying, is like I said, we have a lot of plans that are finally starting to roll since we started getting some good partnerships that are going to be doing some national advertising campaigns for us,
Y-
which we
You
were
know, if
very
you were able to collaborate, just imagine this for a second, Cameron.
Mhm.
Like the equine guys, do you remember the name of them? Red River Ranch or something?
Yes. Thank you. I was going to say, no, I didn't until you said it. That rang the bell. Red River something.
Did I get it? Did I get it right?
It maybe it's Red River something or
I
Red
think
something.
so. I
I
think
know
it's
they're
Red
north of
River
Winnipeg.
Ranch.
I know that.
Yeah. So okay, let's dream along with me for a second. Red
Mhm.
River Ranch, if that is in fact the right name. It's been a while since they were on. So
Mhm.
Red River Ranch, you all in the same place. Okay, you got equine therapy, you have a forge and beekeeping, right? Like
Yep.
you've got it all. Talk about a retreat, like a 2 week retreat.
That's the thing is that's why I said is we're going further than that, and that's our long term 5 to 10 year plan that we have. Our 5 to 10 year plan is going to be a example of creating Canada's first campus and preventative mental health care center, because there is no
Well,
such thing as preventative mental health care, and it's
you
going to
put
have all
all
of
of that together. Like if you put all of that together, the mindfulness, the skills training, like all of it, you put
that.
all of that together, those three. I mean, man, the help that you could provide with that, and the
Now,
financing that you could get. Oh
now
my
think
goodness!
now think about adding that, but then also having pottery, woodworking, stoneworking, cabin making, canoe
Hmm.
working, all of those added into it together, leather working, so on and so forth.
Absolutely,
All of those
absolutely
added in together, and then
wonderful.
have actual instructors of it, where one side of it has the students coming in for actual certificates for taking art classes and taking trade classes in whatever it could be that we have there, pottery.
Build a
Um,
rock wall. I can teach rock climbing.
that's exactly, yes. Anyways, that's what we are looking at, and having all that together, and those people that come there for the school actually get to learn and get certificates, actual certificates in these arts and skills and trades. And then that would actually help the funding for the veterans and first responders that come there to go there for the holistic side and for the mindfulness side and the helpful side. And this is honestly, this is where I'm going to go on a good 10-minute rant here, but this is where it's actually going to be going on together, and how I said we have started the steps to this. And I think this is this new funding we're coming in with is going to, and the partnerships we have with the private
Every
sector.
time you tap that table, it comes through the microphone.
Sorry about that. Um,
All right, I just thought I'd throw you that.
yeah, no. For what's going on there is, and with the partnerships that we have, and with the core foundations we've made, we're actually getting ready for these steps to start happening. Still years out, but they're going to start moving pretty fast soon, because starting those relationships we've been creating are now able to get us up there, and we're going to have a soft landing. And it's because our first phase, now that we realize, is like we've taken it as far as we can. We've worked out a deal with Niverville for helping renting that area in the park that they're building to create the Trail of Heroes, to be able to have a trail, and it's going to have the history of Canada's Confederation, our military, its creation, separation from military to paramilitary organizations, where the first responders part of the trail is going to break off a bit, but it's all going to join up at the end again. And it's going to have who did it, the history of why the veterans that did this art, a little bit of history of Canada's organizations, military, and then just obviously sponsors of why. And we're hopefully going to see if we can get it registered as a national landmark. Now, that's just one thing that we're doing, and that's just what Down in Niverville's been helping us with. They've also been helping us with rent, promotions, so on and so forth, for when we decide to move down there and renovate. Once we get that shop going, is where it's going to start to expand, is because we're going to now have a dedicated facility outside of my backyard that is going to be able to work on this. That's going to have the room to be able to expand, to create woodworking to attach onto. At that, we now have an occupational therapist, Gina, and the University of Toronto, Lena Tamsetto, who's working on getting funding for her research, where we'll be able to get actual documented research evidence to start proving that blacksmithing is an actual art therapy, which will lead to being able to get more funding to have people coming in as a certified art therapy. So when people come in for that, we can then expand to the other art forms. Once we expand to those other art forms, we're going to then be able to create a park area that will have the yoga, they'll have meditation sites, that will have dog walking sites. It'll have pretty much a Zen park area. At that point, when we have the Zen park area, we have a facility that is big enough to be able to run multiple classes. We have a certified now art therapy from hopefully coming from the research in the University of Toronto and Lena, and we would then be able to compile that into having certified instructors on these courses coming in. That's when they would take these funds and having students come to these classes. That's going to help the Niverville and Manitoba economy, I think, because what's that going to do? That's going to create a school that has industrial equipment, material, and jobs needed to maintain it. That's now going to
Unless you run into the NIMBYs.
Mhm.
The NIMBY crowd sank the Legacy Project. No, Legacy House.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this fantastic charity for first responders and veterans where it was a retreat, about 2 acres of land, and just a beautiful place to go and unwind. And they also offered different things that were therapeutic. But it was just a way for you and your spouse to go and have a little retreat. But the neighbors uh, who don't understand what a post-traumatic stress injury is, like, well, oh, what about my kids? You're going to kill my kids. You're going to break into my house and kill us all. Oh, what? But because people don't understand, they're scared. So they don't want a bunch of PTSD injured killers in their backyard, is the way that they're looking at it. It's like, well, unfortunate. Like maybe there should have been a better neighborhood education before opening it up, but I never would have seen it coming myself.
I'm going to call that a one-off, and I've never had that mentality in the Niverville or St. Adolphe area, and
and hopefully you
Niverville
never
is
do.
very well aware of this community. If it ever did came up, okay, fine, I'll deal with it. I'll go somewhere else.
Well, the thing is, they have it so
Niverville's there
backwards.
because they've given great offers to us, not
Like
because we
you
can't
now
go
have
somewhere
the
else.
safest neighborhood in the world. Like you got all the good guys that can handle themselves in your backyard. Like it's the best pack of guard dogs you could ever ask for. And your family, your children couldn't be safer with this group of people in your backyard.
What I'm proposing isn't just a Manitoba thing. I'm doing it because I'm here. I believe in this area. It's got a good mentality. It's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It's so close to so many things. I could go into conversations with that. We got the Canadian Shield, not even an hour away from us here. You can
Awesome.
drive into. You got the prairies. You got lakes everywhere, like
Oh,
Winnipeg.
I know the area. It's beautiful.
Yep. So that's why I said it's such a good place for this stuff. But
So
again, I consider this a
from
national
Winnipeg,
project.
are you north, south, east, or west of
Southeast.
Winnipeg?
So, well,
Southeast of
I'm
Winnipeg.
south. I'll say south actually, south, and it's only like 20 minutes out. That's why one of the reasons we picked it is it's close to an airport. Anyways, but I was going to say is I consider this more a national project, and that's what I was saying is I'm still not worried about this because I've already shown these ideas, and the town of Niverville has already shown us industrial park and commercial park areas that they said we would love to have this campus idea here in our new area. So again, not worried about what you were suggesting there.
Excellent.
But I'll keep it on my radar, sort of thing like that, just in case. But as I said, we've been working on these core foundations. So the town of Niverville is allowing us to rent that property for our first tiny shop there in the rustic area, which will just be a branch shop,
Beautiful.
branched out shop for more rustic things where we can have farmer markets and little things in the trails and the parks and people building stuff in front of people in an open rustic canvas place, an overhead place. But then, like I said again, is once that area that we have is bought, we are going to be able to now have the Zen-like parks. So we are then going to be able to have the certified art therapy with occupational therapists that we are working on, that we have the university working on, and our occupational therapist that's volunteering and working with us here to monitor it here in Manitoba, the development of the programs. We also have the unions, many of unions and firefighters and police officers that are helping us to help develop this program that will be coming up soon. And what happens is we're going to have the park then, as I was suggesting. And that's just another part of this phase is when we have this shop. is we'll have the park for the Zen experiences, for the mindfulness. So we will be having the art therapy, we'll be having the monitoring, we'll be having the community of veterans and people. We'll then be having certified instructors taking students coming in for just civilians to be able to take civilian run classes that will help then fund the charity itself and the school itself. Not only that, it brings an economy because you're going to have major industry that needs to buy supplies for the school. You're going to have the people that need to have the maintenance and the funding of this stuff. You're then going to have students coming there, so you have to have everything that affiliates with student education on that side. Also, you're going to have the businesses and the residential areas for the rentals for students that are coming in there, for the buildings and the places.
And who knows, maybe somebody will even move there.
Yes. Oh no, Niverville is the fourth or fifth fastest growing town last year in Canada.
There you go.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Cameron, how do people get a hold of you?
How do people get a hold of me? Oh, simple. You can either email at cameron.bennett@forgingaheadinc.com. Check out the website. It's an old one. We're in the process of redoing it, but
Cameron.Bennett?
Yep, cameron.bennett@forgingaheadinc.com.
At forgingaheadinc.com. Okay.
Yep. Or check out forgingaheadinc.org on the website. It's an old one. We're in the process of redoing it, but it's coming along because some big changes are coming.
Do you have Facebook pages, Instagram, that type
of
thing?
Absolutely. But those are all being restructured too. We're working really hard in the background right now to get all that stuff done. Our board.
At the end of the day, it's called Forging Ahead.
Yes, Forging Ahead Inc. It's the first charity. It's doing great. And our goal is to have Canada's first campus and preventative mental health center in the next coming years with artistic blacksmithing and other skills. We're really fighting hard to get it done. And we've made some great partners with Charger Logistics, Spectrum Therapeutics, Veterans Alliance, Manitoba government have been really good people watching us and monitoring us and are interested. So,
beautiful.
Other people.
All right. Thanks for doing this with me today, brother. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Not a problem, man. You have yourself a gooder.
Okay. Stay on the line.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to Operation Tango Romeo, the Trauma Recovery Podcast. If you found any value in this episode today, or if you're interested in blacksmithing skills, or you're interested in supporting the veteran community in any way, the easiest way, and doesn't cost you a dime, is to share like the sugar bear, because sharing is caring. Like, comment, subscribe, and let other people know about what Cameron does and what this show does. Thanks so much for your support, everybody.